Hey, it's Ron, and I'm here with
Robert McPherson.
Robert, and we're at where are we?
We're at the Greedy Pig.
The Greedy Pig, and I am enjoing a
Parallel for right now.
parallel for well, it's a gypsy.
Gypsy
something.
Tears, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
$5 lager.
$5 lager.
Yeah.
Hey, today we wanted to quickly talk about integrations with CRM and different integration types. You've recently done an integration with a financial banking system to tie with theirs between the CRM and the core banking system. And so you had to look at contacts. One thing we were talking about before I hit the record button on this was it was on this idea of a master record. I've always been against a master record. I feel like it's very old school. I feel like if I update something in the CRM, it should update the core banking system. If I update something in the banking system, it should update the CRM, and vice versa. There is no master record, but a record of source is very important in the banking.
In some environments, it's really important that you establish some level of data governance.
Right.
Data governance is really important where you have maybe a core backend system that's heavily controlled. The governance is important.
Right.
The integrity of the data is very important, and you don't want to expose updates to that data to a very large group of people. Typically, the CRM system may expose a core system to a much wider group of individuals who might not understand the ramifications of updates to those records.
So then in a banking system, if I update the CRM record in CRM, it won't update the core banking system and what they did. Or does it do it on a select fields?
Yeah, so I've done a couple of integrations back to back actually in the financial services, but the typical scenario would be that you'd have a kind of a hybrid approach where you might have some fields that you maybe do want to flow back into the core banking system. Those would be fairly non-critical fields that might not affect the data in the banking system. You want to keep it up to date, but you don't necessarily it won't affect things like impact statements or impact anybody's privacy or things like that. And you might make those things very easy for them to update the CRM system. Phone number would be a perfect example, or an email address. But you might be more concerned about things like you really want somebody pushing a change to a surname or to a legal name. You don't want pushing back into the backend system because you might really affect the outcome of what they.
So it's almost a hybrid between a record of source and that would be
and that's the wonderful thing about
master record.
Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about the CRM system is integrating with other systems is there's no one size fits all. We can come up with hybrid solutions to make it fit specific scenarios. In some cases you might want no access. In some cases you might want some access in a hybrid approach. In some cases you might want to be one direction or unidirectional or complete bidirectional integration.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. And what did you use to do the integration? Did you use Scribe? Did you use BizTalk? What did you use?
So back-to-back two separate integrations I've done for financial services. One of them, first one we used integrated with an integration services layer that published an XML file to a service layer, and we consumed it using an interface that was built on Windows Communication Foundation. It was a web service communication foundation that would actually pull that into the CRM system. But the second solution we used Scribe as a middleware product that allows us to integrate with fairly easily with back-end systems like a banking system or an accounting system.
Now that first example you gave me where you're not using Scribe, you didn't go directly to the core banking system.
No,
you went to an in-between layer, which to me makes sense because why would you go direct? You may not want to lock up a record or
Yeah, the core concept there is this very large-scale banking system, and in a large-scale banking system you may have lots of events that happen on the core banking system, and instead of trying to synchronize multiple systems all having interfaces directly to that core banking system, what the core banking system does is it publishes that event, that change, so say an address or a name change on your account, push up to the service layer. The service layer would publish that out to anybody who was interested in it, and then the other systems in the organization who wanted to consume that information would actually listen for that
So,
message and pull
so
it
it's
into
not real time, but I mean, how close to real time is it, even though you're using a middle layer? I mean, are you?
very close to real time. So the event is raised really quickly. It goes over the service bus within moments of the update actually occurring in the core banking system. It's published to the service layer, and the service layer within milliseconds delivers it to the interface at the CRM side. So there's overhead involved.
Now, why go to the middle layer in that case instead of direct to the core banking?
So what it allows the core banking system to publish or create one common interface that everybody can subscribe to. You're not creating multiple interfaces, dozens and dozens of interfaces to the same system. You have one common interface. Everybody can consume from that interface.
Okay.
So really, what you do is you pass on the overhead of grabbing the messages off that bus to the consumer. So whether it be a CRM system or some other system in the bank, that can be consuming the same messages that are coming off that bus, and it really reduces the amount of development time coming off of a common bus.
Oh, okay, very cool.
But the second scenario was using Scribe was another banking system where a little bit simpler integration requirement. What they did is they prepared the data. When changes occurred in the core banking system, we sent it to a staging database. The staging database would detect changes. It was using a SQL and SQL scripts to look for changes in the banking system, pull it out to a staging table, which would hold on to those changes.
Yeah.
And it would run that integration on a batch process and a nightly process as opposed to real time.
Right. Yeah. It's frequency, nightly, hourly.
Exactly. It was
For
on
them, it was fun on a nightly basis. Yeah, and the last integration that I did as well too, it was integrating with a system that was doing a nightly push to their BI back-end warehouse, and we would integrate with the warehouse. We wouldn't integrate directly with the ERP system.
So both valid approaches, but obviously a service bus for integration is a very complex scenario. Nightly integration from a batch, putting it into a staging database, a lot less development time involved in creating something like that. Or you could go direct, in simpler integrations we could go direct using a middleware product like Scribe. And Scribe does a great job of taking away a lot of the complexities of integration, building common interfaces between, say, a SQL table and the Microsoft Dynamics CRM platform. And we can integrate with all the different entities, so invoicing, orders, things of that nature can be easily passed back and forth. And that can be very event-driven as well if you really want it to be. You're set up for event-driven, so real-time integration doesn't have to be batch.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Well, that's enough for now for this quick video.